Hi everyone. Today I'm going to talk about chapter 5 modeling variation with probability. Um, so let's go ahead and we're going to work on section 5.1. And in this section, we're going to talk about randomness. So what is the randomness? We're going to use a random number table or technologies to simulate randomness. And then we distinguish between empirical and theoretical probabilities. Okay, so let's see what is randomness. Randomness having no predictable pattern, and people are not good at identifying truly random sample or random experiments. Okay, let's talk about probabilities in this chapter. We're gonna use we use to measure how often random events occur, and when tossing a coin, the probability of head is 1/2. You should know that, right? Uh, if I talk about like probability of a tail, it's also is 1/2 or 50%. Okay, so this means what? This means the coin will land on heads or tail about 50% of the time. So we how many times that probability we have? First is called theoretical probability, and the second one is empirical probability. Okay, so what is theoretical probabilities? It is like long run. It is like when you try to do many times for an experiments. Um, for example, if you flip a coin infinitely many times, right? So then it will have exactly about 50% of flips would be heads, right? Uh, so um, so this should be this theoretical probability should be always long run relative frequencies, and the relative frequency at weak and even occur after infinite many repetition. So this again, it is like theoretical. Okay. So what about empirical? Empirical is actually is the real life one. Okay. Uh, like um like if I toss the coin about 10 times only, right? And I get only 4 heads after I toss 10 times. So then the empirical probability of getting heads is 4 out of 10, right? 4 head out of 10, which is 0.4 or 40%, right? So you should understand that in between theoretical vs empirical probabilities, the same. You have to understand that the theoretical probabilities are always the same value. Okay, the probability in the theoretical is always the same. Uh, like you do, you say if you toss a dice, right? You may you may get a face like one one with one dot is about 1 out of 6 for a long run, and it's gonna be stay the same value forever like that. Um, um, or for the coin, it's always gonna be 1/2 if you choose like to get a head or to get a tail, something like that, right? So um here's an example, right? The theoretical probability of getting a head when tossing a coin is always 0.5 or 50%. And if I talk about empirical probability chain, it will change every experiment, right? So like I say in the first experiments over here, if I toss 10 times, then and I get 4 heads, so that gonna that's probability of the heads gonna be 0.4, which is 40%. But if I do one more time, you do 10, I mean, you do 10 other times and get 7 head, that means the empirical probability of heads for this experiment going to be 0.7, which is 70%. So it's changing, right? And the other example down here is 3 heads, and then um, the empirical probability of head will be 0.3, which is 30%. Okay. Okay, let's move to the next slide. Y2 probability models. The first one, theoretical probability, may be difficult to compute um, but empirical probability can help us estimate the theoretical probability. So we know that for getting a head, if I toss a coin, for long run, it should be about like 50%, right? If you toss the infinite times, it should be 50%. Um, but it could be difficult because why you cannot do and redo like infinite time, many time like that. So the empirical probability will can help us to estimate actually like you test 10 times, you may get around like 4 or 5 or 6. See, so that range will help us to estimate for the theoretical probability. Okay. We may not choose the theoretical probability models. For example, the model may be based on faulty assumptions, or empirical probability can help us to verify or refute theoretical values. So sometimes we may have to check if the theoretical probability is correct or not by using the empirical probability to verify it. Okay, so from this chapter we're gonna use this method, this module to verify for the theoretical value in the from this chapter until the rest, and then chapter 8. Okay. And simulation. What is simulation? We're gonna do experiments used to produce empirical properties. Okay, so this is section 5.1, and I'm gonna move to section 5.2 after this. Okay.